Welcome to CBS Easy.
All right, gearing up for your Class 10 exams? Then you've come to exactly the right place. We're about to break down the Forest and Wildlife Resources chapter, hitting all the essential facts and ideas you absolutely need to know. So, let's jump right in.
So let's kick things off by making this personal. You, me, all of us, we share this planet with literally millions of other species. We're talking everything from tiny little bacteria to those massive blue whales. And this isn't just some cool trivia fact, it's the very foundation of our existence.
And there's a word for all this interconnectedness, a really important one for your exam: biodiversity. You can think of it like a giant, complex web, where every single living thing, including us, is connected. We depend on this web for the very air we breathe, the water we drink, and the soil that grows our food. We're not just living on the planet, we are a part of its web. Okay, so we've got this incredible, complex web, but here's the thing, it's in trouble. Human activities are putting a ton of stress on our ecosystems, and that's why understanding conservation isn't just a chapter in a textbook, it's absolutely essential. Now, for your exams, you'll definitely need to know why we need to conserve. And there are three huge reasons. First, it keeps that ecological diversity, that whole complex web, strong and healthy. Second, it protects our life support systems, clean water, fresh air, healthy soil. And third, it protects genetic diversity, which is super important for growing better crops and making sure species can adapt and survive in the future. To really get a feel for how urgent this is, we're going to zoom in on a powerful case study, one that is central to this chapter: the story of the tiger in India. Okay, picture this. It's the beginning of the 20th century. The forests of India are teeming with tigers. What do you think that number was? Take a guess. An incredible 55,000. I mean, just let that number sink in for a second. A truly massive population. But this is where the story takes a really sharp, devastating turn. By 1973, that huge number had plummeted to just 1,827. So what happened? Well, the biggest threats were poaching, people illegally hunting them for their bones and skin, and their habitats were shrinking as human populations grew. The situation was absolutely critical. So, with the tiger on the brink of disappearing, India had to do something big. And they did. In 1973, they launched the now famous Project Tiger. But here's the key thing. This wasn't just about saving one amazing animal. The real goal was way bigger. It was about saving the entire ecosystem that the tiger lives in. Now, Project Tiger was a huge deal, for sure. But it was actually just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. A larger government strategy to protect the country's natural resources using laws and by managing the land itself. Okay, get ready, because this is a super important one for your exam: the Indian Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. This law was a total game changer. It created a nationwide list of protected species, completely banned the hunting of endangered animals, gave legal protection to their homes, and cracked down hard on wildlife trading. It was basically a legal shield for India's plants and animals. Another way the government manages things is by classifying forest into three types, and you'll want to remember these. First, you have reserved forests. These are the most valuable and are strictly protected. They make up more than half of India's total forest land. Second, there are protected forests. These are shielded from any more damage and cover about 1/3 of the land. And finally, you have unclassed forests, which are basically all the other patches of forest and wastelands, often managed by both the government and local people. But, government laws and official policies are only one side of the coin. The real power, the real heart of conservation in India, well, that comes from its people. And that brings us to the vital role of community conservation. And you can't talk about community action without mentioning the amazing Chipko movement. We're talking about villagers in the Himalayas literally wrapping their arms around trees, hugging them to stop loggers from cutting them down. It's just such a powerful symbol of how grassroots movements can create real change. And it's not just about stopping the bad stuff. It's also about starting the good stuff. It's about rebuilding. Take movements like the Beach Bachao Andolan. They've shown that when you get local communities involved in planting native trees and species, the results can be just, enormously successful. This whole idea of partnership eventually got an official name in 1988, Joint Forest Management, or JFM for short. Think of it like a deal. Local villages help the forest department manage and protect nearby forests, and in return for their hard work, they get to share in the benefits, like using non-timber products and getting a piece of the timber harvest. It's a win-win.
You know, conservation in India isn't just about laws or programs. It runs much, much deeper. It's cultural. It's spiritual. And that brings us to the incredible concept of sacred groves. This comes from an ancient belief that nature is divine. So communities protect these patches of forest, leaving them completely untouched. For example, the Munda and Santal tribes worship the Mahua and Kadamba trees, and the Bishnoi community in Rajasthan are famous for fiercely protecting animals like the blackbuck.
And that whole spirit, that deep reverence for nature, is captured so perfectly in this powerful quote from Gautama Buddha. It's this idea of unconditional kindness that has been a cornerstone of Indian culture for centuries. Okay, so we've covered government action, and we've covered community movements, so let's pull it all together. What's the big idea here? What's the main takeaway for our shared future? And of course, for your exam. And here it is, the key lesson. Conservation only works when everyone is involved. It can't just be a top-down thing. Real lasting change happens when government laws and local community action work together hand in hand. It has to be a team effort. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this final thought. We've seen that conservation is a shared duty. So the final question isn't on an exam paper, it's for you. What role will you play in all of this? Think about it. And hey, good luck with your studies.
Thank you for watching with us. See you next time.